What's up, guys? So today we are looking at PTSD. It's PTSD Awareness Month this month. We will be talking about like later on in the month. There is PTSD Awareness Day. It's the 27th. I could have saved this for then, but I feel like knowing about it at the beginning of the month, that the month is Awareness Month, allows you to be able to do more as far as raising awareness and making donations and stuff to things like BeyondBlue, which I'm currently on. What is PTSD? Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is a particular set of reactions that can develop in people who have been through a traumatic event which threatened their life or safety or that of others around them. This could be a car or other serious accident, physical or sexual assault, war or torture, or disasters such as bushfires or floods. So basically, 2020 is going to be the year we all have PTSD about. As a result, the person experiences feelings of intense fear, helplessness, or horror. Alright, what are the signs and symptoms? Let's have a look here. Reliving the traumatic event. So the person relives the event through unwanted or recurring memories, often in the form of vivid images and nightmares. There may be intense emotional or physical reactions such as sweating, heart palpitations, or panic when reminded of the event. Being overly alert or wound up, the person experiences sleeping difficulties, irritability, and lack of concentration, becoming easily startled and constantly on the lookout for signs of danger. Avoiding reminders of the event, the person deliberately avoids activities, places, people, thoughts, or feelings associated with the event because they bring back painful memories. And feeling emotionally numb. So the person loses interest in day-to-day activities, feels cut off and detached from friends and family, or feels emotionally flat and numb. Which, looking at those four things, they all sort of showed up in Iron Man 3. Tony definitely had PTSD in that film. And then just his next appearance, he was like, yeah, no, it's cool, let's just go and hang out with the Avengers again, because hanging out with them wouldn't bring back memories of their last mission in New York. Just saying. Alright, so, symptom checklist. Here we go. Have you experienced or seen something that involved death, injury, torture, or abuse and felt very scared or helpless? Have you then experienced any of the following? Upsetting memories, flashbacks, or dreams of the event, feeling physically and psychologically distressed when someone mentions or reminds you of the event. If yes to those, have you also experienced at least two of the following? Having trouble remembering important parts of the event, had very negative beliefs about yourself, others, or the world, persistently blamed yourself or others for what happened, persistently felt negative, angry, guilty, or ashamed, but less interested in doing things you used to enjoy, feeling cut off from others, or having trouble feeling positive emotions like love or excitement. And have you experienced at least two of these as well? Difficulty sleeping, whether that's having bad dreams or just finding it hard to fall or stay asleep at all. Easily angered or irritated, engaged in reckless or self-destructive behavior, had trouble concentrating, felt on guard or vigilant, or been easily startled. If those things have been happening for a month or more, you may be experiencing PTSD. How common is it, and who experiences it? More than just military people, which apparently is just assumed to be only a military thing. Anyone can develop PTSD following a traumatic event, but people are at greater risk if the event involved deliberate harm, such as physical or sexual assault, or they have had repeated traumatic experiences, such as childhood sexual abuse or living in a war zone. Apart from the event itself, risk factors for developing PTSD include a past history of trauma or previous mental health problems, as well as ongoing stressful life events after the trauma and an absence of social supports. In Australia, around 12% will experience PTSD in their lifetime. Serious accidents are one of the leading causes of PTSD in Australia. I think I read a thing, and don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure if I got the figure right, but I think only from that like 5 out of that 12% I think was military personnel. It may have been smaller, but I don't think it was any higher than about 5%, meaning that a majority of people experiencing PTSD are not actually active service members, like fighting on like the front lines and stuff in our military. If you feel very distressed at any time after a traumatic event, talking to your doctor or other health professional is a good first step. If you experience symptoms that persist beyond 2 weeks, a doctor or a mental health professional may recommend starting treatment for PTSD. And is there treatment? Many people experience some of the symptoms of PTSD in the first couple of weeks after a traumatic event. Excuse me. But most recover on their own or with the help of family and friends. For this reason, treatment does not usually start until about 2 weeks after the traumatic experience. Even though formal treatment may not commence, it is important during those first few days and weeks to get whatever help is needed. And obviously seeking out support for the trauma as soon as it's happened is going to be your best bet of potentially avoiding PTSD. Support from family and friends is important for most people, trying as far as possible to minimize other stressful life experiences allows the person to focus more on their recovery. If a person feels very distressed at any time after a traumatic event, they should talk to a doctor or a health professional. If the person experiences symptoms that persist beyond 2 weeks, again, they may start. You may get recommended to start formal treatment. Effective treatments are available. Most involve psychological treatment, talking therapy, going to a counsellor, that sort of thing. But medication can also be prescribed in some cases. Remembering that only 12% of Australians are suffering from PTSD, and only some of them are getting the actual medication, meaning that PTSD is actually pretty easy to overcome, assuming it's not super severe. Drug treatments are not recommended within 4 weeks of symptoms appearing unless the severity of the person's distress cannot be managed by psychological means alone. Generally, it's best to start with psychological treatment rather than use medication as the first and only solution to a problem. I would say that that's probably because, the medication is potentially, I'm just making an assumption here, but potentially it's addictive. Alright, let me just go back a few bits. No? Okay. Oh look, I need to... Where are we? What's this one? Okay. Now, in the link down below in the description down below is a link to the PTSD quiz. Same site as all my other ones, so we're gonna just jump into it. And I know I haven't addressed it yet, but we're talking about mental health, so I'm letting my hair just be crazy for this one video. Alright, so there are 17 questions for this one, and it looks like they're all going to have the answers of not at all once per week, 2 to 4 times per week, or 5 or more times per week, and I'm expecting a pretty low score for this. Unless I've like super blocked it out, I don't think I have any traumas in my past, and I'm extremely grateful for that. It has allowed me to be in enough, like have enough sanity to be able to help my friends who are dealing with PTSD. And that's, if we're being completely honest, what my trip to Tamworth was all about. So, step 1 of 17, or question 1 of 17, however you want to look at it. You had upsetting thoughts or images about trauma that came into your head when you didn't want them to. No. You've been having bad dreams or nightmares about a trauma. No. Pretty much if it has the word trauma in it, I'm just going to immediately say no. So, you've had the experience of reliving a trauma. No. You've been very emotionally upset when reminded of a trauma. You've been having physical reactions when reminded of a trauma. There's no backbite. I'm just going to read that anyway. You've been trying not to think about or have feelings associated with a trauma. What is my mouse doing? You've been making efforts to avoid activities, situations, and places that remind you of a trauma. We're up to question 8. We're halfway through already. We're breezing this. There are parts about a traumatic experience that you still cannot remember. This one's, I'm going to say no to it again, because it says traumatic experience, but if we're talking about there being parts of if we take the word traumatic out, let me read that question. There are parts about an experience that you still cannot remember. Yeah, I still can't remember where I was when I fell and split my skull, which made my seizure. I still can't remember that. So I don't know if I was like actually on the walking path and therefore there was no one around, or if I've like fallen and hit my head on like, you know, the footpath or sidewalk or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, not a trauma. So it's just sort of like it's just a thing. You found that you're not interested in things you used to enjoy. No. There was a time there, and I think I'm going to be blaming my depressive side of potentially my bipolar. I know the quiz that I did suggested that I might be at risk of it. If that's the case, and I am bipolar, we're gonna go ahead and say that that was a depressive moment during the quarantine where I was like, yeah, not interested in doing anything. But now we've got cabin fever and we want to go and do everything. You have felt distant or cut off from others around you. No mention of the trauma, and also no button that says all my life, therefore not related to any trauma. So we're going to go no, not related to a trauma, is how we're going to look at that one. You felt emotionally numb. We're going to go, let's go once a week. It has in the example series, feel sad but can't cry. And yeah, sometimes we get the big sad and just no tears come. So we're going to go once a week, just to sort of, for rarity's sake, and also so that I don't just blitz this with a 0. Because, as we know from other videos, I definitely have some stuff going on upstairs that I should probably get actual help for. But I'm not the kind of person that believes that actually works, like talking to a stranger, as opposed to talking to a trusted friend. You know what I mean? Plus the prices are ridiculous for therapy. I can talk to a friend for free, and they might even buy me a drink while I talk. So, alright, number 12. You felt that any future plans or hopes have changed because of trauma. You have been having problems falling asleep or staying asleep. Look, we already know that I have insomnia. We've done that test in and of itself. We've also looked at the fact that it's related to anxiety, stress, depression. It's in bipolar because bipolar is linked to depression with its depressive episodes. It's also linked to PTSD. It is its own thing. We've answered no to all the other ones. Why are we going to go ahead and answer 5 or more for this one when, you know what I mean? like, we know it's related to other things and not a traumatic experience. So, you've been more irritable or having outbursts of anger? No, we are pretty cool-headed. You've been having more difficulty concentrating? Ooh, actually, drifting in and out of conversations, losing track. Okay, so yes and no. I'm gonna answer once a week for this one as well, just because yes and no. So the drifting in and out of conversations, my friends know that my brain works at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And so they're able to sort of talk to me in like very sort of small but related conversations. There's just a string of them, and that's how we end up having a full like hour-long conversation or whatever, when we're just like chatting and talking shit. If it's like a serious conversation, I can concentrate on it. So drifting in and out of conversations is not necessarily a thing. It's more or less just like telling a story and then all of a sudden being suddenly reminded of something that's potentially more important, and just merging onto that and trying to remember to come back. Whether we do or not is another story. Losing track of a story on television, however, the other example on this question, is usually because I'm editing a video or playing a game on my phone while it's on, and it's just sort of, at that point, background noise. And knowing that it's going to be background noise, I usually put on a movie or a show or whatever that I've already seen. So, next question. You've been overly alert, for example, checking to see who is around you, uncomfortable with your back to a door. Yes, but the question is this related to trauma? We're going to go once a week, I think, for this one. Tempted with a not at all. I'm going to go not at all. That's more to do with social anxiety than it is to do with trauma. And our last question is, you've been jumpier or more easily started, like when someone walks up behind you. And I'm going to go not at all, because I was the kid that got picked on at school, and so I've sort of trained myself to have the second nature being that I can hear people walking up behind me. And at the same time, it also taught me to walk quieter. Mild risk, but mild risk is out of 51 points, which is the total for this quiz. I've only got a 2, and the mild risk's top end is 5. So I'm like, what's that? That's like what, bottom 4% of people, and considering that it's like 12% of people will experience PTSD in their lifetime. Currently, I'm basically not experiencing it. All my answers were related to something other than trauma. But the link to that quiz and the link to the BeyondBlue that I read out to you before is in the description down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me, and the notification bell if you want to be notified when they get uploaded. It is PTSD Awareness Month. PTSD Awareness Day itself is the 27th. So if you're wanting to donate to BeyondBlue or whatever for PTSD, particularly if you're wanting to make like a big one, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have some people experiencing some PTSD once all these riots and stuff die down, hopefully soon. Hopefully the police don't continue it for months and months on end. Hopefully someone steps in at some point and is like, look, okay, we get it. What can we do to change this, because these protests and riots are getting too much. Hopefully that happens soon, and therefore not wanting this to happen, but hopefully we can return to some semblance of normalcy on that front, as well as with Corona. But my prediction is that there's going to be a couple of people getting traumatized from just I mean, America obviously particularly, but some of the stuff I've seen coming out of Australia is not much better. So if you want to save up and be able to donate, you have forewarning of about 3 weeks in advance. 27th of this month, and on the video that I'll upload that day, I will also include in its description whether it's about PTSD again or not. Regardless, I will be leaving a link in its description so you can go and donate to BeyondBlue or Black Dog or Phoenix Australia or any other wonderful, wonderful charities. But yeah, that's all for this video. So until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.